Hello and welcome back so quickly. It's only been a day, and right now I'm here able to predict the fourth week of the Barclays Premier League for you guys, and in a couple of days' time we'll have to be predicting the next week. Time flies in the Barclays Premier League, and so we better not diddy-daddle here. So let's go to the first game, which will take place at Selhurst Park, a London derby of sorts, where Crystal Palace will face West Ham. Now, I think this game is going to go down in one way and one way only. Tony Pulis will really have to fire up his troops, as only a couple of days ago they did go 1-0 down to Norwich. So at home, I think that really they'll have to be quite sound defensively, as West Ham are coming off a derby of sorts again, where they beat Fulham 3-0. So Sam Allardyce's men will be full of confidence going to Selhurst Park, but I think that Tony Pulis can really get his instrumental players like Barry Bannon, Dick Choi, and Mile Jedinak really up and fired for this game, and I think that Crystal Palace will be able to manage to take a point off West Ham, and I believe that the game will finish 1-1. To Old Trafford, where arguably this is the best game of the week. It's where Manchester United will face Everton, and I think that Manchester United will go down 3-2. My reasoning behind that tip is just because Everton are high-flying at the moment. They destroyed Hull at home 4-0. Lukaku always gets on the score sheet. Defensively, they're sound. In the midfield, they have a great pairing which complements each other in James McCarthy and Gareth Barry, and I think that up front they can cause Manchester United problems. I don't think that Manchester United have a great midfield, and I think that Everton will be able to exploit that, as well as getting their fullbacks down the flanks to make those overlapping runs and get the balls in the box to Lukaku. That's not completely to write off United, who I think will show an excellent display in this game. I just believe at this time that Everton are the stronger team and will win 3-2. Going to St Mary's, where Southampton will face Aston Villa, and I predict that it will be a comfortable win for the Saints, 2-0. Southampton coming off, last week they're coming off a couple of days ago, should I say, 3-1 defeat at Stamford Bridge to Chelsea. I think that Mauricio Pochettino will want his boys to bounce back very nicely, and due to the quick turnaround of games, they can forget their last outing and concentrate on this one. I don't think Villa will cause them very much trouble. Villa usually like to play in sort of a 4-3-3 formation, and I think that there will be gaps to exploit for Southampton, in particular in behind the striker, whoever plays there. I'm predicting that will be James Ward-Prowse. I reckon there'll be a lot of space in the midfield for him and Lallana and the likes to just run right and cause Villa defensively a lot of trouble. And that's why I think that Southampton will get the nice comfortable win 2-0. At the Emirates, Arsenal will face Hull City, and due to Hull's shock loss a couple of days ago against Liverpool, do I think that they can go to the Emirates and pull a similar stunt on Arsenal? No, I don't think so. Not only because I'm an Arsenal fan, but I just think that Arsenal just right now arguably they are the best team in the Premier League. They're sitting on top of the table for a reason, and I think that against Hull City they will show their qualities at home. Last week, a couple of days ago, they went to Cardiff and got a nice 3-0 victory, and I think that they can back it up again at the Emirates against Hull. So look for Arsenal to win there 3-1. At the Britannia, defensive maestros Stoke will take on Malky Mackay's strongly set up Cardiff City in what should really be quite an intriguing tactical game. Now, I say a tactical game because I don't think it's going to be like an entertaining game where there'll be many goals, but tactically it should be interesting how both teams set up. Now, Mark Hughes, I'm assuming, will want to go 4-2-3-1, and Cardiff will either go 4-4-2 or 4-5-1, and it'll just be interesting to see how Cardiff play. Most likely they will play on the counter-attack, But whether they'll look for the long ball or play through the midfield through the likes of Gary Medel, that will be interesting. However, I see Stoke just at home being a little too strong for Cardiff City. If Peter Crouch plays, they'll probably want to get a lot of balls into the box, as both teams actually are really good from set pieces. But I think just the reasoning being at home, Stoke may just have a little more up front than Cardiff, and that's why I'm predicting Stoke to win that game 1-0. At Anfield, Liverpool will hopefully like to forget their last outing as they take on Norwich City, and I think that they will be able to bounce back from their 3-1 shock loss to Hull against Norwich City. Norwich did win last week against Crystal Palace, a nice 1-0 victory. The goal scorer there was Gary Hooper, but at Anfield, and as I said, Brendan Rodgers will really want to enforce that his team shouldn't be losing 2 on the trot, and so I think that he'll get his players really up and about, look for the partnership of Suarez and Sturridge to be reunited in this game and cause Norwich City all sorts of havoc. The only intriguing bit of information that I have is I'm not sure what formation Brendan Rodgers will play, whether he plays 3-5-2, which I think Liverpool do look a better side when they play that, because not a lot of teams are able to counter that balance with 5 in the midfield and your 2 wing backs and obviously the 2 players up front, the SAS, Suarez and Sturridge. Or will he play, a more traditional 4-4-2? Time will only tell. But it doesn't matter. I don't believe it matters what formation Liverpool play. I think that Norwich will come to Anfield and go away with 0 points as Liverpool win 2-0. At the Stadium of Light, Gus Poyet's Sunderland will take on, flying the under-the-radar sort of Jose Mourinho's Chelsea. And I think that Chelsea actually haven't been playing their best football yet. I think a lot of Chelsea fans and a lot of football fans will attest with me with that statement that Chelsea haven't been reaching their full potential yet. Players like William, Schürrle, Mata, they haven't actually superseded or reached that potential that we thought that Chelsea would reach this season. Yet they're only a couple of points behind Arsenal, and they haven't been playing their best football. So that goes to say a lot to Chelsea, and in particular Jose Mourinho. Talking about this game in particular, I think Chelsea will go there and do the business early relatively on. I'm tipping the scoreline will be 1-0. Just because I think that Gus Poyet will want his team to be sound defensively and attempt to hit Chelsea on the counter-attack and exploit them that way. But if you're a Chelsea fan, you could probably expect a couple more goals at the Stadium of Light. I'm just predicting that your team will fly under the radar once again and pick a nice 1-0 victory up there. Moving up into Wales at the Liberty Stadium, where Swansea will take on Newcastle United. Now, Newcastle are really a team. We were talking a couple of weeks ago that Southampton are a flying team. Well, what's not to say that Newcastle aren't there? They're sitting 6th, and they're actually playing some really good football. Swansea, their last outing was at the Etihad, where they were down 3-0. By Manchester City, and so but they did play some impressive football though. They did have a couple of chances, so it wasn't all doom and gloom in that sense. I still think that Swansea really do need to focus on their finishing in front of goal, because they do create a bucket load of chances through the amount of possession that they have. It's just whether or not they're able to capitalise and finish those chances. I think that they will be able to finish some of the chances in this fixture, but that being said, Newcastle will come there full of confidence, and I reckon that they can steal an away point. So I'm predicting that the game will end 1-1. The second last game taking place at the Hawthorns is West Bromwich Albion taking on the high-flying and rampaging Manchester City. Now, Manchester City are right now a team that you do not want to face, whether it be home or away. Probably you wouldn't want to face them at home because they're perfect there, but it doesn't matter where or when you play City, it's not good right now. However, for Bromwich, I can give them a little bit of hope. I think that really going forward, they won't be as great. I think that I've predicted that they will score here, but assuming that will either come from a set piece, because I don't see it coming from open play. The likes of Shane Long and Stefan Sessegnon, I don't think will cause City the likes of Joleon Lescott, Yaya Toure, not Nastasic because he's injured, but those players, I don't think the Bromwich attacking force up front will create City defensively any problems. Most likely that Bromwich will score from a set piece. However, that being said, you've got the likes of Negredo, Aguero, the whole spiel that I've been saying for the last couple of months for City. You know who they've got up front, and I think Bromwich know as well. It's whether or not they can stop them, and I don't think they can. So I'm predicting that Bromwich will go down there to City 2-1. The final game will take place at Craven Cottage. It's a London derby where Fulham, the newly managed Fulham, will take on Andre Villas-Boas's Tottenham Hotspur. Now, Martin Jol yesterday was sacked, and so in a couple of days' time, Fulham under new management is going to have to face a London rival, Tottenham Hotspur. I don't think that, when they say that when a new manager is introduced, there's that instant spark and the players instantly want to play for that manager. I don't think that the gap between Yol being sacked and this game coming up is too big enough to for the new manager coming in. Just don't remember his name to do anything radical to ensure that Fulham do get a point or a win in this game. And so that being said, I think that Tottenham will come off their really even game against Manchester United with a fair bit of confidence that they're going to take on, or let's be honest, a weakened Fulham side here and get the business done, and I predict that they will do that. However, that being said, Fulham, they will try. I know that Scotty Parker will try his heart out against his former club, but just watching Fulham last week, who did Fulham play last week, actually? Fulham played West Ham, and just watching them, no one really tried. There was no leaders there. The only player that was really striving and driving and trying to create something out of nothing was Scott Parker. And so I think he'll do the same. But Tottenham all around the pitch just have more overall quality, and I believe that they'll win that game 3-1. So that is my predictions for the 14th week, and remember that in a couple of days' time I'll be reviewing this week and then previewing next week, because there's back-to-back games, midweek, weekend, and then the midweek again. So there'll be, as I've said before, a lot of videos coming up on my channel. Stay tuned for more, and thank you very much, and goodbye.